This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Rob Ledgewood. I am a co-compliance specialist with Clatsop County, and today we're going to meet and talk about the Arch Cape short-term rental and any complaints that may have come in associated with those short-term rentals. I do know that we have Commissioner Thompson with us this morning. Thank you for joining us, Commissioner. I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk at the top of this meeting if you so wanted to.
Thank you, Rob. I would like to say a few words.
Great, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So good morning, neighbors. I'm reminded that one neighborhood is one neighborhood. It's like they say at the state, one county is one county. From Astoria, everything south of Warrenton, especially from Seaside on, looks like South County. We know there's a difference in our neighborhoods. So I appreciate the fact that I'm around the headland from you, but I've been around the headland from Arch Cape for a long time. So we're joining together this morning, I think, to get better acquainted as neighbors and to have an exercise in trust building so that we can be good neighbors to each other, because that's how I look at this. For those of you who aren't familiar with county government, I'm your District 5 commissioner. That's the southern half of Clatsop County. We have 5 commissioners. So any policy that is set by the County Board of Commissioners requires at least 3 commissioners to vote for it. And it's the governing body, the Board of County Commissioners, that determines what goes into the policy setting and monitors the policy enforcement at the county level. So that's my relationship to my fellow commissioners up in Astoria. My relationship to you is to hear what you have to say. I can't always give you exactly what you want because, believe it or not, different neighbors have different ideas about what's right. My guideposts are what's legal, what's ethical, what's fiscally prudent, what's good public policy. And in my mind, good public policy promotes being good neighbors. Really, all we have is each other in this place. When it comes to catastrophic events, when it comes to day-to-day interactions, we have each other. That's the good news and the challenging news. So let's look forward today to building good neighbor relationships. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that. As we go on here, I just want to remind everybody, if you're not talking, let's keep your lines on mute. And so as we get started, before we get into the complaints, I just want to remind everyone that the county started a short-term rental complaint hotline. It went live on November 24th of 2020. There's a couple of different ways to utilize that complaint hotline. The first is to just call the phone number. It's 503-325-1001. You will actually talk to somebody when you call that. It's bilingual 24/7. If you don't want to call, you can always go online and use the online complaint form. That can be found on the Clatsop County Land Use website by going to the code compliance section, and there's a link that'll take you to their complaint form that you can fill things out. It is specific to short-term rentals and non-emergencies, of course. For the fourth quarter, in the Arch Cape area, the county received 1 complaint. It involved a parking situation, and it actually came in before the complaint hotline went live, and it ended up coming into my email, and I just randomly checked it on the weekends. Don't tell my boss that I did that. And I notified the property owner, and it was promptly resolved. I did create a record for that complaint, and it is now resolved. And so we have no outstanding or ongoing issues that I am aware of in the Arch Cape area. Just to kind of expand on the categories that I have up on the screen, these are the categories that are Lodging Revs is the company that we have running the hotline. These are the categories that they that they have. And so we're just kind of going with those. It makes it easy to keep things, you know, in line with one another. Essentially, that's what I have on complaints for the fourth quarter of 2020. I think Gail had a couple things that she wanted to mention about the Board of Commissioners work session coming up on February 24th. Gail?
Yeah, thank you, Rob. And I just want to say, even though I know Rob didn't want me to hear about his checking on the weekends, normally code compliance doesn't work on the weekends, and that's part of the reason we went with the Lodging Revs hotline, because they are available 24/7. So even though I appreciate the above and beyond effort Rob did, use your hotline before you hit Rob up on the weekends. So February 24th, we're going to be having a work session with the Board of Commissioners to talk about short-term rentals. And we're looking really at two tracks that we want to discuss with the board. One is a track that looks at the procedural changes staff would like to recommend to the ordinance that would cover items about how we enforce the ordinance and how the application process works in terms of what materials you would have to turn in, length of permits, how we can create tools that help us better enforce what's in the ordinance. And those would be procedural items that we would ask the board for their input on. The other track would be the big ticket items, and those are the policy discussions. And as Commissioner Thompson discussed at the beginning of this meeting, you know, a lot of policy does come down to how can we, you know, encourage people to be good neighbors. But what we've been seeing over the past probably 6 months since we started these quarterly meetings with the short-term rentals throughout the county is staff has received a lot of emails and letters and correspondence, both pro short-term rental and raising, on the other side, people who are maybe long-term residents raising more concerns about the impacts of short-term rentals on their neighborhood. And so, you know, we have had a lot of concerns raised that on the 24th, staff is going to be going to the board and making some sort of recommendation about eliminating short-term rentals or prohibiting them. And I want to be very clear that that is not what staff is going to be doing. It's those policy issues we will present to the board, and along with all the comments that we've received in writing, and we will be putting them in a package for the board to review. But we will not be making a recommendation to the board about whether short-term rentals should be allowed or discontinued or only allowed in certain parts of the county. That's a policy discussion the board will have to have. And on the 24th, if you're going to tune into that meeting, just to let you know how it works procedurally, is with a work session, the board typically does not take public comment at a work session. It's set up as a time for the board members to discuss with each other in a public setting policy issues and concerns that they may have, and to work through these policy issues together as a group. So I just wanted to kind of set the expectation level about what's going to happen on February 24th. In the meantime, our agenda packet will go out on February 12th, and at that time we'll put our agenda item up on the website, so it'll be available for everybody to look at before the February 24th work session. In the meantime, if anybody does have written comments that they would like to submit for inclusion in that packet, I would need to have those no later than February 10th. And I believe Rob has his email address up as well on the end of this presentation, so you can mail them to Rob. You can email them to me, and I'll put my email in the chat box, or you can email them to the Community Development General email box, and I'll share that email with you in the chat box as well. At the end of the meeting, if we have time, if anybody has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer those as well. So thank you for your time, and I turn it back to Rob.
All right, thanks, Gail. I don't have my email on the end of this, but I did put it up in the chat box. It is my first initial last name, RLEDGERWOOD@co.clatsop.or.us. All right. we do have some time set aside here for some public comment. We have a couple of people that wanted to talk. And just before we get into that, I want to remind everybody, if you're on a phone, you've called in, you can use *6 to unmute yourself. So that's, again, that's *6 to unmute. And then I think it works to mute yourself again when you're done. So we'll get into some public comment. The first person I have on the list is John Robert Hill. John, are you with us today? John Robert Hill. All right. I don't hear John, but we'll come back to you if we're having some microphone issues. The next person on the list is Alan Solares. Alan, are you with us today? All right, I'm not hearing Alan, so we'll come back. The next one on the list is Linda Eierman. Linda, are you with us today?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Morning, Linda. Go ahead.
I don't have any specific enforcement or compliance issues, but I did want to let folks know that the Arch Cape Falcon Cove Beach Community Club is interested in putting together a subcommittee or some kind of ad hoc work group that will monitor from the community standpoint, the short-term rental, not only complaint issues, but good neighbor issues. And possibly would do things like offer comment at work sessions with Board of Commissioners, or even propose ordinances. So if there's anybody who is interested, the board of the community club is small and we really need other people from the community to step up. So you can contact me or Charles Dice, who is the current president. The other comment that I would have is from myself, and I'm interested in seeing the packet that you put out, Gail and Rob and staff, because it seems like it's been, I don't know, as many years as I've been working on these issues here in Clatsop County, that there's a conflict here, because it's what we have is, commercial activity in a residential zone, not what was envisioned when the comprehensive plan was, or the community plans were adopted. And it's happened so kind of gradually, and now it's a big industry. And it is a conflict for those who live here. And I've previously put in some comments that I think the process would be well served if we could change the licensing process to something that is type 2, that would get the community involved before the permits were issued, rather than letting us know afterwards. So whether it be a conditional use permit or a variance, I think that would be a policy change and an ordinance change that would be valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. We're just going to go back to the top of the list. And so the people that I've called before, we're going to hit those again. John Robert Hill, are you with us? Let's see if I see you on the list here. I don't see John with us today on the list of attendees. Is Alan Solaris with us today? Alan? I don't see Alan on the list either. These are the only people that wanted to talk today during the Archcape meeting. I don't see anything else in the chat. Gail, go ahead.
Yeah, Rob. James Jensvold said he wasn't able to stay on the call, but he did put something in the chat, and I'll read that for the group. He said, I live at 80030 Pacific Road. The houses on either side of me are short-term rentals. The problem is overflow cars of the renters parking on my private property in front of my house. My hedge is set back from the property line to allow parking, and I do not have a garage. Sometimes there is no room for me to park. I don't wish to post private property signs if I do not have to, but it is quite annoying.
All right. There was somebody in the chat, I believe Casey wanted to talk. Casey?
Hi, thank you. My name is Casey Hansen. I work for Turnkey Vacation Rentals. I've been managing in this area for about 8 years. We've joined most of these meetings and always been purposefully passive, taking in information so that we can be in the know on how to best operate vacation rentals responsibly in the area. On the urging of our current homeowners, a handful of prospects and just our vendors and basically everybody we work with, we're trying to be more vocal. And today I just want to put in, I think that there was a great idea as far as creating some more work groups and people, and just let everyone know that we're here looking for positive solutions to issues and to reach out to us if you have any concerns. And yeah, would love to work proactively with anybody on anything that we can do to help. So that's it.
All right, thanks, Casey. I don't see anything else in the chat, Gail. That's all that I have for the meeting today.
Yeah, did Commissioner Thompson have any comments? And I see Tick Long, did you have your hand raised?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, first of all, thank you for doing this. I'm new to the community. My wife and I started, she grew up in Portland, coming to Cannon Beach all the time. And then all of a sudden one year we rented a place in Arch Cape and fell in love with it and came here for about 5 years, and just last year bought a place and live here about 4 to 5 months a year. But my question was, we do short-term rentals to help supplement our cost of owning this property. I was just wondering, are there many complaints? Because we had rented before and had such great experiences, and certainly as an owner, we don't want our neighbors to not have a good experience. I just wonder how bad is the problem, and what are those things that we can do as owners to help make it better for everybody? Because we live here lots of the year as well.
Yeah, thank you for the comments there. I don't have the total number of complaints submitted in 2020 in front of me. I don't know if I want to hazard a guess, but I think it's less than 50 for the year. Mostly, if we want to go back to the categories that Lodging Revs has broken out for us, these are typically the most prominent complaints that short-term rentals see. So illegal rentals, noise issues, occupancy, parking, and trash. And then there's another category for things that fall outside those things. But a lot of parking stuff, a lot of noise stuff. There's some occupancy stuff going on. Clatsop County has been pretty good from what I can gather. Is most of the rentals that we know about are permitted. They've gone through the process to obtain their permits. There's a few out there. I don't know if that helps answer your question or not.
But well, the just second part, even things like this really helps me as an owner see what are the issues and how can maybe I be more proactive to take an extra step to find out when our place is rented that our neighbors have a good experience as well. Because when we rented, we were certainly aware that we were in a nice neighborhood and wanted to take care of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would offer this, that if there are issues, I mean, there's undoubtedly going to be issues, and that's why we have an ordinance. That's why we have code compliance. There are tools available and things that can be done, and that can address some of those things, particularly noise and parking and things like that. There's a lot of things that are available to owners, management, and staff to work through those challenges.
And to follow up on that, I think some of the complaints that we've received in the past are things that the county cannot necessarily address or regulate, but things like burning during fire season has been a big concern. Making sure that visitors are educated about beach safety and aware of their surroundings when they use the beach and go down there. There's been some concerns and complaints about trespassing by visitors who may not realize that some property is private property. And animals was another one where people have their pets off leash or are not cleaning up after their pets. So just trying to promote those kind of common sense things that people may not think about when they're on vacation or even know that they should be thinking about, and that helps a lot as well.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. I think that unless we have John Robert Hill or Alan Solaris that has joined us, I think that is all that we have for today.
Yeah, Commissioner Thompson, did you have any closing remarks? No. Okay. Thank you.
All right, everybody. I think we're done for today. I appreciate everybody taking the time to join and participate in the process with your local government.